One thing, first of all, how you doing, folks? It's been a while. I've been very busy, and this is just a quick vid, a little informative. That's what it's about. And like I said, first of all, America, we need God now, but African Americans, my brothers and sisters, we need God right now. We've done everything else from an intellectual point, marching for jobs and justice for 20 years, which we've gained nothing out of it. I mean, and I look back from the modern civil rights leaders to the real civil rights leaders of yesteryear, not only including Dr. Martin Luther King, but Malcolm X, which you when you go to a school, you very rarely hear, or if at all, in most places, the teachings of Malcolm X. And we thought it was quite interesting after, well, we already did it, but we did a more deeper research into what Malcolm X had taught. And basically, he was saying the same thing that Marcus Garvey was teaching. Marcus Garvey said like this: to educate the Negro wrong makes the Negro his own worst enemy. And we thought it strange, not strange, but I mean, very informative. Malcolm X, he said he thought it was rather ridiculous, or he said it was not wise for having our people marching up and down, constantly begging the white man for something. And we thought, it's raining. Black folks, we are under a cloud and it's raining. Let me just get down to the meat of the video, so to speak, from an informative perspective. Malcolm X said, look at every neighborhood that we live in, even right now to today. And he said that over 50 years ago. Malcolm X said, poor neighborhoods produce poor schools. Poor schools produce poor education. Poor education, we already know the results of that, means that the person receiving this poor education will be poor all of their lives. It's storming. It's not just raining. It's storming, folks. Then we're being buried under a constant stream of immigrants. It has been said from the mid 1970s up until I think 2015, we've had over 45 million immigrants, and these people are over African Americans. You have a little China, a little India, a little Havana, a little Mexico. But soon as somebody tried to come and help black Americans, and didn't think, they call you a racist. And then you've got these so-called bought and paid for civil rights leaders. We've been marching, I'll put it this way, we have been marching for jobs and justice for 50 years, and we're worse now than we've ever been. And look at gerrymandering. You get even the black African Americans' greatest point of economic wealth was between 1944 and the mid 1940s during World War II, and ironically up until the time the Civil Rights Act was passed or signed. After that, especially after the civil rights icons like Malcolm X and Dr. King, Medgar, when these guys were assassinated, that was it, because the people you have over you now, these self-appointed, self-righteous people like, do I have to call a name? Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. And look at the CBC PAC. Look at this. What a disgrace. They're lobbying for I said lobbying for. That means they've got money. They receive money to lobby from the same big multi-corporations that have helped destroy your community to start with. Big pharma, big tobacco, and of all things, private prisons. And like Malcolm X said, instead of teaching you to go up and down the street begging white people for something, he should have been teaching, these so-called civil rights leaders should have been teaching you how to create your own economy. That's why Malcolm X said we can't unite with others until we learn to unite with ourselves. There can be no worker unification until we have racial unification. We can't have acceptance from other ethnic groups and races until we have learned to accept ourselves among ourselves. Is that hard to understand? Look where we are from when this man spoke to right now. We've been marching for jobs and justice for 50 years, and we are worse now than we've ever been. Everybody's saying it. And let me tell you something what's so disastrous about this. We have been marching for other people, and these people, some of these races are really, I'll put it this way, it's a fact. There were meetings in South Florida a few years back. They bought every hotel in South Florida, just about, fired every African American down there, and they said, what was the meeting say? In the meeting was said, we are here to replace the Negro. But we want to blame the white man. The white man is not crazy enough. First of all, this is what Malcolm X is saying. This white man is not crazy. First, he said, Malcolm X said, you've been going up and down and begging. Now you're begging, and this man has gave you a little something, and then you're going to complain about. That's why you have all the immigrants coming over. Look, nobody came over here originally for happiness. It was life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. That was in the Constitution, property. Remember, black folks was considered property. Now I'm going way back quite naturally. Yes, we were slaves. Yes, we were kidnapped out of Africa here, brought here, worked all day long for hundreds of years for nothing yet. But that stopped. Slavery stopped in 1865. Remember the Emancipation? Oh, come on now. We have to stop blaming this white man for everything. Everything is not this white man's fault. Look at Detroit. Detroit, they said we had almost a 90% African American population. You should see what, at its heyday, you should see what the annual income was for African American. 146 gas stations, and Arabs owned all but one. I'm sorry, I think it's two. What a disgrace. That's why the place went broke. You didn't own nothing. They were selling houses, 3 and 4 story brick houses for $200 and $300 and some less. Black people didn't own anything. They said that was one of the main causes that the place went bankrupt. One of the largest cities in America, bankrupt. And black America got the full thing, but we're going to blame the white man. You should hear some of the terrible insults that were slung at black people, not because I have never asked for that. I never thought of the idea. I never understood the idea. Why are we going to march up and down to eat at some white guy's restaurant when you're cooking the food anyway? We should have been marching for our own if that's what you do. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not racist. But we have to clean, like Malcolm X said, and like Marcus Garvey said, let's clean the inside of the house before we go out there and call ourselves integrating. How are you going to integrate with somebody like Malcolm X said? You're fighting, these so-called civil rights people had you fighting to eat or drink a cup of coffee at somebody's restaurant when you didn't even know how you was going to pay for the cup of coffee you was drinking to start with. They should have been teaching us how to have and produce our own economy, where we can employ our own people. We're in a dangerous position. You know, we were the #1 minority group. Now we're #2 and sliding. The Hispanics are #1, and we're sliding down quickly. The Asians are almost over us. Black men are only 6.6% of the population. Do you know that? Out of, and it's over 319 million. There's no longer 319 million people in America. The economy, America is $19.1 trillion in debt. When you add up Social SSI and Medicare and Medicaid, almost over $60 trillion in debt, there's nothing to give you. We need God right now. I'm tired of two people blaming white people. If it wasn't for white people, hell, you wouldn't be working anyway. A lot of people call me all out my name. What? Black people don't own nothing. Look at how they treated Malcolm X. When you roll that around, doesn't it sound a little ridiculous? Do you know, I'm going to tell you what bad shape. I wrote it down. Yeah, I do. I read it. Sometimes, if I don't know it all, I like to get my statistics on paper. Not but this one I got. Do you know, I'm just going to give you a few companies, American companies, that was synonymous with the name America, that are owned by Asians and everybody else. You know, Rockefeller Center is owned by other people, Asians. You know, Bridgestone, Firestone is owned by Asians. You know, Lucky Strike, the tobacco company, owned by foreigners. You know, Budweiser, the king of beer, synonymous with the name, owned by foreigners. You know, 7-Eleven, owned by foreigners. Hellman Mayonnaise Company, owned by foreigners. Good Humor Ice Cream is owned by foreigners. The Popsicle Company, owned by foreigners. I already told you 7-Eleven is owned by foreigners, and there's a lot more. Let's just go on and on. Look at the statistics. They have a statistic that I forgot. There's a count in Chicago. How many people get murdered over every weekend? It is the disgrace. It's the white man. No, it's not. Hell no. No, it's not the white man. Most of these communities in African America, the economy is owned by Arabs. Chicago, Detroit. Can you imagine that? Well, what a disgrace to the slaves. I'm gonna say, you know, it is. Malcolm X is right. He was right. Marcus Garvey was right. Did he say no, not to integrate? No. Make sure we clean the inside of the house. Educate the black man. Malcolm X said this, and I'm going to close. Malcolm X said we should teach the African American to be intellectually thinkers for themselves, so he can be the real black men and women, so we can think and make up our own mind, rather than following these so-called civil rights clowns. Mob snitches, really? The CBC PAC and 8 members of the Congressional Black Caucus are in the CBC PAC, which are two entirely different entities. That lets you know right then. You've been sold out. You've been had. We need God right now. You've done everything else. Dr. Manning said it this way. The Spanish and the Arabs and the Asians would sell all the hair and the nails in black community. Everybody get rich off of black people but us. But we blaming a white man. Dr. James David Manning said, they're going to be signing our paychecks and we're going to be paying them rent. And the next one is the 5 ways, the 5 tactics that are used to exterminate black folks. And number 1 is gentrification, because you don't own a thing. Marching up and down begging. I'm not talking about all, but this is what these so-called so-called civil rights leaders, they know better. That's a lie. Lord help us. Pray, folks. That's all I can say. Pray. We really need it. God help us. He's the only one who can do it now.